Good morning and happy Mother's Day. I hope that you are doing well and that you have been able to get in contact with the people that you need to get in contact with today. If you've gotten to this point of your day and you have not messaged your mom yet or called your mom yet, you need to do that. You can pause this. She will appreciate it. And then don't tell her that you're calling because I reminded you. So take your second to do that if you need to. For everybody who remembered, and everybody who's back now, I'm glad that you are here. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us this morning. I hope that this service is going to be able to be a place where you can be encouraged to continue to live your life, or maybe for the first time decide to live your life for Christ. So let's go ahead and pray, and we'll get into our time of worship. God, thank you so much for mothers. Sorry that we're not able to do more for them today. Thank you for the people who are surrogate mothers, the people who step in and are mother figures, whether they're teachers or mothers of friends. God, just thank you so much for them too, and thank you for just the opportunities that we get to be there for each other on these days, to help remind each other that we have a worth and that you love us, God. So just let us be able to do that today. And just let the service be a time where we can reach out to you and feel your presence, God, knowing you're there with us through all these times that we are going through. We love you, and we pray all this in your son's name. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. Let's worship God. Give thanks to the Lord, our God and King. His love endures forever. For he is good, he is above all things. His love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise. With a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, his love endures forever. For the life that's been reborn, his love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever, forever. From the rising to the setting sun, his love endures forever. By the grace of God we'll carry on, his love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever, forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever, forever, forever God you're faithful, forever God you're strong, forever God you're with us, forever, forever God you're faithful, forever God you're strong, forever God you're with us, forever, 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 forever. Next song, One Thing Remains. can separate my heart from your great love. In death, in life, I'm confident and covered by the power of your great love. 'Cause my debt is paid, there's nothing that can separate my heart from your great love. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love, your love, your love.
So it is Mother's Day today, and because of that, I am, of course, thinking about my own mother. And when I think about my mom, um, one thing comes to mind most of the time. Well, a lot of things come to mind, but something that comes to mind pretty regularly for me is her opinion on movies. It didn't take me very long to come to the realization that we have different opinions on those things. For my mom's favorite kind of movie is a movie that starts happy, is happy in the middle, maybe just a little bit sad, and then ends happily. Those are her favorite kinds of movies. But most importantly, no matter what else happens in the movie, she wants it to end happy. And I think for a lot of us, the ending of stories really are the important part. If you get to the end of a book or the end of a news article or the end of a movie and the story ends in a positive way, we are often a lot more forgiving of what might have happened earlier, even if those things were sad or not exactly what we wanted to have happen. And so I'm going to spoil the story in our scriptures today and let you know that there is a happy ending here today. But there are several points in the story where the story could have ended, and if it had ended there, the story would have ended in a devastating way. So what is the difference? The difference is the people in today's story, or in today's passage, they have faith. They keep their faith, even at dark points in their life. And so that's what we're going to be looking at today, the importance of our faith, and what this miracle that Jesus is going to perform today is going to teach us about faith. And so our passage is going to be in Luke chapter 8, starting in verse 40. And so I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then we can get right into that. God, thank you so much for this time where we can be together, even though it is not physical. We can be reminded of the fact that there are people in our community, people in our country who are in the same boat as us when it comes to where our hope comes from. And we just thank you so much for Jesus and the examples that we have in Scripture. Look to him. Let's pray all this in your Son's name. Amen. So this is how it goes. Again, we're in Luke chapter 8. Now when Jesus returned, a crowd welcomed him, for they were all expecting him. Then a man named Jairus, a synagogue leader, came and fell at Jesus' feet, pleading with him to come to his house, because his only daughter, a girl of about 12, was dying. As Jesus was on his way, the crowd almost crushed him, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you." But Jesus said, "Someone touched me. I know that power has gone out from me." Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. In the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." And while Jesus was still speaking, someone came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader. "Your daughter is dead," he said. "Don't bother the teacher anymore." Hearing this, Jesus said to Jairus, Don't be afraid. Just believe, and she will be healed." When he arrived at the house of Jairus, he did not let anyone go in with him except Peter, John, and James, and the child's father and mother. Meanwhile, all the people were wailing and mourning for her. "Stop wailing," Jesus said. "She is not dead, but asleep." They laughed at him, knowing that she was dead. But he took her by the hand and said, "My child, get up." Her spirit returned, and at once she stood up. Then Jesus told them to give her something to eat. And her parents were astonished. But he ordered them not to tell anyone what had happened. And so there's a couple things we're going to be talking about. Our big thing is going to be looking at the faith of these two people, specifically the bleeding woman and Jairus. But I really want us to look at, again, the story as a whole and see what little things we can get out of there first. The first thing I really want us to see and remember is the fact that the distractions in our lives are a part of the story of our lives. See, we remember this story there's really one big story with a little story in the middle of it. The story is of Jesus being asked to come and to heal this man's daughter. How it starts, and that's where he's going. When a distraction happens. And in that distraction, something amazing happens. See, this woman who has been bleeding for 12 years, she comes and she has faith and she touches Jesus and she is healed. Now, this would have been a big deal for this woman to come and to touch Jesus because the way she was sick, the way that she was bleeding with blood at all, and back then, especially when it came to the kind of bleeding that she was doing, which as a boy that grew up in a house without any girls in it, except for my mom, it was not something that I came to understand at all for a long time. But this poor lady has been separated from her family. She's considered unclean, and the fact that she's there amongst all these people is a big risk. She is out of options. She has tried everything. And she comes to Jesus and she touches Jesus. And so that's enough of a distraction, but then Jesus stops everything. And we don't see and hear how Jairus is reacting, but I know that when my plans are interrupted, I get jittery and I get upset. As little as there are plans right now in our lives, I still get tense when things aren't going the way I want them to go. Specifically, right now, there's the time every day where it is bedtime for my kids. And as bedtime gets drawn out by distractions, I become more and more aggravated with my kids and annoyed and wanting them to just get ready for bed and to do what they're told. But that whole time is time I have with my kids. It's still part of the story. In the same way here, Jesus being interrupted by this woman is a part of the story. And God is glorified by this distraction. You see, this woman is not just healed physically, but she would be restored, really, as a human being in this community. She would be able to return to her family in a way that she wasn't able to before. Jesus took this distraction and did an amazing thing and was glorified through it. And in our lives right now, we are in a big distraction. And we can look at it as that, as something that's in the way, stopping us from getting to do our life. Or we can look at it the way that Jesus looked at life and realize it is part of the story. And we can choose to find ways to glorify God in this distraction. So that's just kind of a side thought. But the big thing, again, I want us to look at is this. The idea that Jesus came and was in this town, and he was approached. And Jesus talks to people twice when it comes to the miracles that are going to happen. The first when the woman is healed. And he tells her that she's healed because of her faith. Specifically in verse 48, when he says, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." It wasn't like just that she touched Jesus. His clothes didn't have magical properties or anything. She touched him, and she knew that he could heal her. She had heard about Jesus, and she knew if she could just get close enough to touch him, she could be healed. And so she got close enough, and she risked everything, because it really could have been death for this woman if she had shown up here, because to be bleeding this way makes her unclean in their religious ways. And then if she touched other people, it made them unclean. And to do that to all these people could have been death for this woman. But it was worth it. And you can see it was worth it because she was acting on her faith. And then again, later, when hope seems lost entirely, and Jairus gets told that his daughter is dead, and the person who came from his house says, "Don't bother Jesus anymore because she is dead." Jesus stops him before he can say anything, and he says, "Don't be afraid. Just believe, and she will be healed." Just believe. It is hard sometimes to have faith, to believe. But having faith is where the miracles of Jesus comes from. In Ephesians 2, verses 8 and 9, it says this: "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith. This is not for yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast." See, in the same way that the faith of the woman and the faith of the father brings about the healings, it is faith in Jesus in our own lives that brings about our healings. And something that is important for us to remember is that having faith, you don't get to really choose the timeline that it goes. See, sometimes we are lucky, and we only really have to have faith for a short amount of time to get a reward, like the dad, like Jairus. He only has to have faith until he gets to his home, and Jesus rewards it. And it's easy to have faith for a little while. I can say to myself, everything's going to be okay, and I can be good for 10 minutes without even thinking about it. But then after that, thoughts start to creep in. Are things really going to be okay? Did I think about this thing that could go wrong? And so maybe that's how long we have to keep our faith to get whatever it is we want or need at a certain time. Sometimes we get those rewards quickly. Sometimes we have to wait a long time. This woman had been bleeding for 12 years. But still, when she saw Jesus, she had faith. She had not resigned herself to, this is how it has to be. She was looking for a way. She was active in it. And as she went to Jesus and she acted on her faith, she was healed. Because that's something we have to remember too. Faith is not just sitting around and saying, God's going to take care of it. Real faith changes the way we act. This woman, she had to act on her faith. Jairus had to act on his faith by taking Jesus even to his house still and not saying, no, it's over. But there are some times, in some things in our life, we have to keep the faith until the day we die. We have to keep the faith until the end. In James chapter 1, verse 12, it says this: "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial," perseveres or keeps the faith, is faithful. Because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. And so sometimes that's how long we have to keep the faith. When it comes to my faith in what will happen when I die, I have to keep that until the end. And that's when I get my reward for it. I don't get that reward until that day. And being faithful, sometimes that's the only thing we have left. Maybe that is the rescue from the things of this world. Jesus, sometimes I pray, make it all better. And it will be all better someday. But keep the faith. And so right now we are in hard times. And I want us to be able to look to this story. And what a fun story this is, because we get 2 miracles for the price of 1. Right? And we're going through the miracles of Jesus, but today we get 2 miracles. The restoring of a woman, the healing of her after 12 years. And then the healing and the resurrection of a girl who had only been alive for 12 years. Let us keep the faith as these 2 people did. As Jairus and the bleeding woman did, let's act on our faith. And again, let us not be afraid to realize that the distraction of what's going on right now in our life is our life. And to seek God in it now. To not wait. To not put things off. To not say, once things get back to normal, then I have to blank. Instead, let us look to God and realize that He is good and He has good things in store for us if we only keep the faith. And so, my hope for you and my prayer for you this week will be that. Let's pray. God, thank you so much again that we have these times to focus in and to be challenged by you. I just pray that as we go out, as we are in our homes or out at work or out at the store or whatever we're doing, God, this week, just let us to seek you, be faithful to you, knowing that as powerful as you are, our faith in you is what is required. Not our own actions, but the faith of these people, God. We love you. We pray all this in your Son's name. Amen.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I worship your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your songs again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing till the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. I sing like never before, oh my soul, I worship your holy name. great day, everyone. Hopefully that works. You have to see how the guitar picks up compared to that, and then
Thank you again for joining us on this wonderful Mother's Day. I hope that you're able to, again, get in contact with your mom or your mother-in-law or maybe your kids or whoever it is, that those relationships can feel real today, even though you might not be able to see each other physically. Again, thank you for taking the time to be with us this morning. And just have a good week, and we'll be praying for you. Please, in the comments, let me know any prayer requests or just how you're doing even. Please reach out. It is good to hear from people. And so please let me know how you're doing. And we will be looking forward to when we can see you again soon. God bless.